Tonight on the Screensavers, we'll talk to the people that keep the president up to date with tech. Plus, punch some holes with Kevin's free Linux security scanner and get a new notebook computer on the cheap, dudes. Live from the Tech TV studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers.
Screensavers, I'm Jessica Corbin.
And I'm Patrick Norton. We want to thank you for joining us tonight.
And I'm filling in for our beloved Leo Laporte as he is basking in the Mexican rays for a week. Working hard, I'm sure, Leo. No, I'm not jealous or anything. I'm not white or anything, Leo. I could use those rays. Anyways, he will be back next Tuesday, the 24th.
If you're new to the Screensavers, well, we tackle your toughest tech questions. We talk to the people that matter, and we try to give you the straight dope on the latest products. But before we hit the news to start our show, let's bug our very own tiny little Sarah in the nook.
You said dope.
You said dope.
Straight dope.
dope.
You said straight dope.
Word to your mother.
Now.
Actually, I'm busy working on my blog report, but I can't wait for tomorrow when we get to go to your house. It was crazy. You have no idea what's going on at the Norton residence.
And if you want to survive, they'll never find out.
Oh.
And that package will be re-edited tonight. Oh boy. Should we kick on to the tech news that caught our eye today?
That's right.
You think?
Yeah.
Possibly. Associated Press reports yesterday, if you haven't read this one, Utah Senator Orrin Hatch has some ideas for stopping file traders, not spam, although that's a lovely picture of spam. Hatch, the Senate Judiciary Committee chairman, was in a discussion on methods to stop the illegal exchange of copyrighted music and movie files over the web when he asked tech executives in the meeting if there was a way to damage computers involved in such file trading. Illegally downloaded copyright music from the internet once or twice, he says, and you get a warning, do it a third time, and your computer gets destroyed. Sounds scary, huh? This may be the only way, he suggested, that you can teach somebody about copyrights. He added that there's no excuse for anyone violating copyright laws. Sound a bit drastic? Well, Senator Hatch is a composer that earned no less than $18,000 in songwriting royalties last year. Pretty scary, huh? And the senator's website, well, there was a little tempering of his answer on his website today. He advised that I made my comments at yesterday's hearing because I think that the industry is not doing enough to help us find effective ways to stop people from using computers to steal copyrighted, personal, or sensitive materials. I do not favor extreme remedies unless no moderate remedies can be found. I ask the interested industries to help us find those moderate remedies. So I guess he's saying he wants the file swappers to stop the useful stuff that file traders and stealers want to use before the RIAA gets to run fast and loose and destroy people's machines.
Now, is he really going to be able to blow up these people's computers with the touch of a button?
It's not really how it would work.
Okay, how would it work?
You know what? It really depends on how nasty somebody wants to get. And there's some people who have already suggested that various groups have already released applications disguised as other files to destroy stuff.
Okay, so according to Inquirer.net, Microsoft is finally getting their butts into gear regarding spam blocking. Yesterday, MS announced it had filed 13, lucky number 13, civil suits in the U.S. for sending unwanted, deceptive commercial email to Microsoft customers. To follow up that action, Microsoft also set up dummy accounts to track where the spam is coming from. In order to prevent spam, Microsoft's Hotmail has limited their users to 100 emails a day, and that happened to me, and I was kind of upset about it because I had some emailing lists that I do email to people, and I was blocked for the whole day.
Which is really, really annoying.
Yeah, it's super annoying.
So we can only hope that Microsoft's lawyers are a little more creative and a little more useful than Microsoft's Hotmail account techs.
Why are they dragging their feet?
It's tough to do, and maybe they don't know what they're doing. Or maybe they have Microsoft Exchange, and it's a nightmare to administrate. Our online poll question for you today. Here's a thought. Would the threat of destroying all the contents of your PC stop you from trading MP3s? A, yes, it's not worth it. B, no, they'll never catch me. And C, I trade MP3s exclusively with my special P2P helmet. I fear nothing. Right. Go to thescreensavers.com and don't forget to post your opinions in the talkback section. Should we go to a live question?
I think so. Hey, Brian joins us from the phone. Morgantown, West Virginia. Thanks for joining us, Brian.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
about
You-
you?
I
you
have a question. I understand your discussion of region codes on DVDs yesterday,
Yeah.
but I was wondering on my PC DVD player, does it make a difference if it's like a US NTSC video versus a UK DVD, which is PAL video?
It shouldn't make a difference when it's on the DVD. If you're going out and buying a TV, if you want to use it in the U.S., you buy an NTSC TV. Matter of fact, the only place you're going to find PAL equipment for sale is if you ever been in New York, like around 42nd Street, at the electronics
yes, I
stores.
used to have a combo VCR and TV that was actually multi-system.
Right. I mean, if you turned it to PAL, it couldn't display any of the broadcast locally, right?
Right.
So I caught a head nod. I've never actually used a PAL DVD, but it doesn't, Yoshi, it doesn't make a difference, right?
The computer will make the change for you without you even noticing.
So what about if you throw it into a consumer, like a consumer electronics?
Some do, some don't.
So-
The one I have at home, the TV will switch back and forth, but not all of them will.
Is that the TV or the DVD player itself?
Probably both.
Okay. So, Brian, it sounds like I would try to basically avoid buying PAL DVDs if you can, and go for NTSC ones.
Well, I have, on the DVD on the PC was where I'd be playing the PAL DVDs.
Was it having any problem displaying them?
No, I don't have any right now, but I've got like catalog for like Arsenal
Right.
DVDs.
So it'd be Arsenal, the soccer team?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, you want to start getting the old games in, and you don't want to spend $400 on DVDs and $600 on shipping, and have a stack of DVDs of Arsenal soccer, and find out that you got to go buy a TV.
Like add a second DVD player on the PC and lock that into Region 2, and the original is Region 1.
Yeah, that should cover it. The software, like Yoshi said, if you're doing it on a PC, the software in the PC should cover it. If you want to do it on a regular consumer electronics player, it may get a little sketchier. Okay,
Yeah,
Brian?
my home video setup, that's all US NTSC, and I'm not going to bother with that.
Probably a wise choice. It gets pretty expensive if you start doubling up on that stuff. All right, thanks for the question, Brian.
Hey guys, don't go anywhere, you'll miss something called Nessus, a dark tip you just can't live without. It's kind of like air. And after the break, check out the features and performance results from this assortment of inexpensive notebooks. I love a deal when we come back.
But yeah, anything.
Welcome back, folks. Not too long ago, cheap notebooks reared their tiny little heads, and we found that many of them were awful, pretty much unusable. Tech TV lab analyst Han Choi, though, recently went one-on-one with 6 notebooks, priced from $800 to $1,200, and found that times have changed considerably. Han, welcome back to the Screensavers.
Thank you.
So we have 6 notebooks arrayed out here.
Yeah.
We got them in alphabetical order, not by price, not by performance.
No.
So we're going to start out with the Apple.
Yeah. Well,
the iBook?
if you're a Mac user, you really have, and you're on a budget, you want a notebook, you have one choice.
You have one choice.
The iBook.
Yeah. And you know what? You might want to wait until after, the Mac world to see whether or not they upgrade this at all. G3 processor.
It's a little slow with OS 10, and the base one, the $1,000 configuration that you
Right.
see there,
Right here.
it only has 128 megs, so you
I-
definitely want to you're going to upgrade that. You have to upgrade that with OS 10.
You may not want to buy it from Apple because you can get memory cheaper other places, but
Yeah.
definitely upgrade to at least 256
And-
megabytes.
And I would actually consider spending $1,300 getting the one with the combo drive in it, the DVD CDRW combo drive, because you want the ability to burn is so important now. It's like
Nice
just
way to back up data and move
backing
stuff
up
around.
data. Yeah, I've lost a lot of stuff in the last year.
On the upside, great amount of the software comes with it. You're basically ready to do anything you want to out of the box.
Apple Works is included. You get a Quicken is in there. iLife is in there. You know, it has everything in there. You can open it and use it.
Avertech 3150p.
Why? This is a big thing about affordable notebooks. A year ago, basically, you were buying 7,
Right.
8 pound notebooks.
And this
now
is-
this is 4.5 pounds. So you're starting to see them come into the value market. The really portable stuff. And built-in wireless, combo drive. It does have a 12-inch screen.
Which is, I've been using 12-inch screens for years. What kind of processor is inside of this?
It's an AMD Athlon XP. It's got
Okay.
it was 1.4 gigahertz.
not too
So,
bad. Not quite up with the Pentium M or the Pentium 4 Mobile.
It's not snappy, but you know it does the job for most
Okay.
applications. The big thing I didn't like about it was the lid scratches so easily.
I don't know if you can see this at home, but part of the problem with almost any notebook, if you don't basically leave it at home and never use it, you can't really. Oh, there you start to see them.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, I'm abusing the notebook is what I
Right.
thought, but actually my roommate actually bought one of these, and his looks like hell too. So
You really like the Dell.
Dell had over 4 hours of battery life.
Really?
Which is, for a notebook is really, really important because, you know, in the value market, usually you saw 2 hours, but this is 4 hours. Big battery, though. So.
Big battery. It's also, you know, like this is a more traditional low-price notebook. It's a bit heavier. It's still only around, what, 6 pounds?
It's 7.5, actually.
7.5?
It's pretty, it's hefty, but, you know, good price, $1,000.
What kind of processor?
That has a Celeron 2 gigahertz, I believe, in there. It's fast.
14-inch screen.
14-inch screen. It's got the combo drive, you know, 30 gig hard drive, which 30 gig seems to be the kind of the standard these days. So.
Which is not bad for $900.
No, not bad. So, next one is the
E-machines.
E-machines. Now, they were in the notebook market really briefly, and then they went away and they came back. And this is what they came up with.
And this is very different. So we've got like a 16:9 screen on this one.
1610. It's a
16 by
widescreen format. I love the widescreen.
This is a huge keyboard too.
It's a huge keyboard. It's 6.5 pounds, pretty lightweight, over 3 hours of battery life.
That's not
It'll
bad.
actually play, Saving Private Ryan is the one we always watch.
That's the benchmark?
2 hours.
Because you enjoy the emotional suffering
Oh,
while
of course.
testing.
It's 2 hours and 50 minutes long, and this actually played it, plus a little bit extra.
We
So-
noticed something on the back of this one. It almost looks like it has a 1394 port, but it doesn't quite fill out on that one. You
No.
see a little silver plug there.
That is for the future. I guess the case design is going to remain, and more are going to be added. One thing about E-machine, though, this is the only configuration they have, so you can't add, you know, wireless internally or anything. You can't pay extra. You can beg and plead. You can offer the money, but you can't actually add it.
But it's not going to happen.
So,
Got it.
but still, $12.50, decent price. Software comes
Great
with
screen.
I love the screen. It comes with Works, I believe.
You were thrilled with the Gateway.
The Gateway was, you know, 2 days ago it was
$800
$800. Now it's $1,000, but it's, you know, though they have this flash sales all the time.
So for the people who do mail order, it's crucial to keep an eye on the prices and buy when it drops.
Oh yeah, it changes it changes daily, so you just gotta keep an eye on it. Just so keep an eye on the $800 price point. Battery life is decent. It is kind of heavy. It's over 7 pounds. But this is what's cool. I love this.
They
There's
took
a-
the floppy drive out.
no floppy. Yes, it's got a 6-in-1 reader, so it'll be basically any flash
kind of
media
digital
format,
camera or
any digital
PDA,
cameras or
whatever
whatever. Yeah, which is a really cool thing to add to it.
One last one before we go. Winbook. You did not enjoy this experience.
This was horrible.
That'd be this one all the way down
Okay,
here.
the performance wasn't very good. First
Okay.
of all, it just didn't do very well in the numbers. But the battery life was horrible, under 2 hours. And then on top of it, with the DVD, it'll do 1 hour and 15 minutes. So basically, you can kind of get into it and then
Just
it'll
enough
die.
to get to Nebraska and then start reading a book.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So that's not, and it weighs almost 8 pounds.
So it's
And there's no
heavy,
software.
it's slow, it doesn't have much battery life. Do any of these come with a fair amount of software other than the iBook?
Most of them come with Works or Works Suite. The
Okay.
Dell actually has WordPerfect Productivity Pack. So Works is okay. Works Suite is better because it comes with Microsoft Word, which is kind of the standard in Office productivity.
Sure.
So, but Works generally seems to be it's okay. It's not the best application, but hey, it's something you can use
If
it.
you don't like it, download OpenOffice.
Exactly. It's better than the Winbook, which you get nothing and you can't actually use a notebook.
iBook to the side. Which was your two favorites of the PCs?
And
We can take the Winbook out. Let's put the lid down on that one.
Yeah, that's definitely out. I like the E-machine, and I like the Veritech because it is small. I
'Cause
must
it's
admit that it scratches, and I wasn't thrilled about a couple things, but you know, I like portability. I'm all about portability, and the fact that I can put it in my bag and not really notice it.
So this is one of the only ultralight notebooks out there.
For that price range, for $1,000, it's $1,025 or something. Built-in wireless, it's tough to beat the price.
That's a pretty good deal. Ladies
Yeah,
and
it's a great
gentlemen,
deal.
Han spent a lot of time on these. He has an amazing review up there. He's our Tech TV, our labs analyst, and specializes in mobile products. Benchmark specs, deets on what worked and what didn't. You can find out what he didn't like about the Avertex keyboard. Kick up to thescreensavers.com and get the full article. Thanks, Han.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay put. Who gives tech advice to the president? We're going to talk to one of the people who's leading that group. And up next, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to start your own ISP, check out what our next caller wants to do. That's coming up after this quick break.
Hey, don't forget to register for this week's Screensavers LAN party powered by NVIDIA. The game is New Wolfenstein Demo Enemy Territory to aid in slaughtering Nazis. How pleasant. You can steal uniforms, build battlefield structures, cook hamburgers, and gain special skills and abilities that continue through the campaign. But you gotta work as a team. Remember, there is no I in team. So go to the website and click on Join Our LAN Party to register for for links to download the game. We'll see you tomorrow for the Screensavers LAN party.
Jonas joins us on the phone from Guthrie, Oklahoma. How you doing tonight, Jonas?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Excellent. You got an interesting question for us tonight.
Yeah. Where I live, I have no broadband connections available.
Got it.
And I finally just decided that I wanted to start up my own ISP.
Okay, are you familiar with some of the groups out there that have been doing rural ISPs? I mean, you're thinking probably what, wireless distribution,
Yes.
get a T1 or a T3 line and split
Yeah,
that?
like just bring up a T1 connection and then distributing.
Have you talked about any of the neighbors or the people in the community to talk about what you'd like to do?
Yes, I have.
And you got a group of enthusiastic people, or?
Actually, I do. A lot of them, because when you dial up, you get like 22 kilobits.
Because you're
or
about
22
30,000 feet
Yeah.
from the nearest substation, probably.
Yeah.
That's immensely frustrating.
Yes, it is.
So how far have you got? Do you have a list of potential subscribers? Do you have a monthly price maybe worked out people would be willing to pay? Or
Yeah, I figured I looked at other people, and most people have been charging $35 a month, and between 35, 50, 75, depending on how fast they're going.
Okay. Are you thinking about doing like maybe one giant antenna? I mean, how many square miles are you talking about covering here, Jonas?
Probably 5 to 10.
Okay.
5-mile radius.
That's not too bad. Because you got a couple options. People have been doing some really interesting things. You spend some time on Google, looking at some of the organizations out there. There's a couple websites I want you to check out that are great places that are full of links for you to check out. One of them, SeattleWireless.net. We've got that webpage up there. And they talk about everything. They're basically creating an internal network for the city of Seattle. It's basically a wireless network. It's not necessarily, they weren't designing it to distribute internet, but what they were designing it is sort of a local network to transfer stuff between houses. They've done some interesting stuff with small, inexpensive boxes you can build to sort of carry a wireless access from point to point to point to point, rather than using one giant antenna in the middle of town. Another website I really like for this kind of stuff is nocat.net. It's another site that aggregates a lot of information about wireless and using it to propagate internet access in a community. If you do a fast search, let's see, we did a quick search on Google. There's a couple places in Iowa where they've been doing a lot of work, and I believe Illinois, there's at least one town in Illinois that the state university has actually managed to distribute wireless internet access for the whole community. So there's some precedents out there, and you've got a couple different options for how you're going to distribute this based on how much money you have and how many people you want it to get to. Okay, Jonas?
All right, thank you.
I think what we're going to do is we'll try to get all those links up in the show notes after the show. You can check, and definitely nocat.net, SeattleWireless.net. If you start there, you'll find a lot of links out there. Okay. Jonas?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for the call, man. It's a good point.
Is that something he could turn into a profit eventually?
Well, it really depends on whether or not he wants to make it a profit or a non-profit business.
Okay.
That's his call, not mine.
Okay, just wondering. Okay, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to show you how to get in shape using the net. But don't worry, I have done all the heavy lifting for you. And still to come, holy motherboard, Batman, lock down that PC with Kevin's latest D-tip for real. But first, think fast. Here's Sarah with a Windows tip.
Think fast, Jessica. If you're going to be away from your desk and you don't want to shut off your PC, you can still lock your desktop to keep annoying pests from reading your private information. For XP, press the Windows key plus L here, and it's going to take you back to the standard XP login screen. Of course, if you use passwords, people are pretty much SOL at this point, and that's what's so great about it. Stay with us.
Norton coming up in this half hour. Well, you know what? We're going to talk to a guy that may eventually give tech advice to the president, but he's telling us what he wants to talk about is how the software industry is changing faster than we can watch it. Plus, we're going to be answering your nagging computer questions a little later on. But right now, Kevin's back. Hey, he never went anywhere because he's got another dark tip. This time, talking Linux?
Yes, we're talking Linux this time. This CD right here, it's full of every single security tool and hacking tool you could ever possibly need.
And you can install it on a CD-ROM drive without
Yes.
installing it on your system.
Exactly. This is called Knoppix STD, and STD stands for Security Tools Distro. Not the normal STD you would think about.
It's a different STD.
It's a different STD. And what it is, it's a distribution of Linux that you burn. You first download the image, which is about 600, 650 megabytes, and then you burn it to a CD like you would a standard ISO file, like with Nero.
Got it.
And once you burn it to the CD, you put it in the CD-ROM drive, reboot the machine, and it boots right inside of Linux, right into Linux. So there's nothing you have to install, no hard drives to reformat or repartition.
Right.
Just boots right in.
So it's similar to the original Knoppix we saw, which is kind of a, try it out without installing it on your system version of Linux. But this one is
Exactly.
targeted.
It's targeted for the security expert in mind, not the hacker, the security expert.
Got it.
It's got a lot of really cool tools. Check this out. Let me just run through them here.
So it's running right now.
This is running right here. This is STD, and we click on the little start menu here, and you'll see that everything here on the left-hand side here. Look at this: cracker, encryption. It's got a firewall built in, a honeypot intrusion detection system, penetration tools. Everything you could ever possibly imagine that was created for Linux is in this distro.
So you walk into a small business, you load this up on a system, you start running your applications. You don't have to bring a system in, you don't have to wipe one of their systems. You can start seeing what's going on in their network.
Exactly. In fact, the funny thing is, you should mention that, a friend of mine that works for the United Nations, he was telling me they were having problems because people would walk in with this disk, not have any computers on them,
Right.
not have anything that would set off the metal detectors, and they'll just find a machine in the corner, pop the disk in, close the CD-ROM tray, and instantly they have an entire Linux console at their command to do whatever they want.
So should we start stripping, CDRs off of people as they walk into
That-
secure areas?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I would think so. I would think so at this point because you can do anything with this. But anyway, let me show you what we're doing. This program is called Nessus. This is the program that's built into it. I'm going to launch it here. And what this is, it's a vulnerability scanner. What it's going to do is it's going to scan your entire system or any target that you type in IP address. It's going to look for different holes that can actually be vulnerabilities that can be exploited. So let me show you here. We'll click on like miscellaneous, and you'll see down here, these are all the different holes that it's going to scan for. You can see our HP LaserJet hack, and it tells you all about the hack and exactly how it's going to try and scan for it.
Someone could put naughty messages on the LaserJet display.
OpenSSL, traceroute hacks. I mean, thousands of different hacks. These are all called plugins, and you can actually download and get the latest hacks instantly from their site.
So you can choose a particular hack you want to test for a vulnerability on, or you could check them all and just do a total scan.
Exactly,
of
and the
system.
total scan is going to scan for a couple thousand. And then let's say, for instance, we're watching the news and we see a new vulnerability just came out.
Got it.
Well, you can go to their site, download that plugin, drop it into the plugins directory, fire up your version of Nessus. You'll see the vulnerability listed there. Check it, choose scan. It's going to hit the system and try and see if that system's vulnerable to that.
You had a couple other tools in here that you liked.
I did. There's AirSnort, which I'm going to be showing here coming up, which is a wireless cracking tool that I just got running today, which is really cool. And there's a bunch of tools we're going to run through at a later point. I'll bring each one to you at a
Do
different
you
time.
need a fast machine or a lot of memory to run this?
Not really. I mean, this is a distro of Linux. It's really lightweight. It's on a CD. You don't need a really fast machine. The memory requirements are very minimal, like 32 megs, something like that. Not much at all.
I suspect you have an article on the website.
I have an entire article with a download link. You can download it tonight. You can be playing with Linux tonight. You don't have to repartition or anything.
Knoppix STD, folks, not the sex one. If you want to check out Nessus, you got to check out Kevin's article at the Screensavers. In the meantime, Jess is here to get you healthy. She's got a sight of the night.
That's right, you guys. In preparation for the next segment, right now I want you to drop and give me 20. Okay, 10. I'll be easy on you at first. No more screwing around here, Savers, in effort to prevent against our butts being as flat as this here monitor. I'm going to give you some sites dedicated to getting you in shape. All right? So the first site is realage.com. Now, what I want you to assess, of course, take your weight and take your inches. But the next thing I want you to do is get your body mass index or your BMI. And on realage.com, they have a body mass index calculator. And what this is going to tell you is if your health really is at risk. So take me, for example, 5'7", 130 pounds. I am a female. And you calculate, and then it's going to tell you with this little graph here what your body mass index is and give you a graph and the range that you're in. Fortunately enough, I am doing all right. All right. Now the next site, if the next part that you want to do is you want to get your booty into action, right? And the site that I really like is freetrainers.com. Now, in general, okay, you're going to give a profile and it's going to whip out a basic format, but what it's going to do is it's going to hold you accountable. So right here, you're going to get the number of sets that you have, your target reps. Now you can keep an online log or you can print all these out, put them in a binder and take it on the go. best of all, again, it's free, like the Earl says, and it's highly effective if you stick to it, okay? Now, next thing that I want you guys to look at is fitday.org, because you have to take charge of your nutrition, okay? Now, right here, it's going to be, you're going to put in the food that you're into. So like right here, earlier, I had a mango, I had some coffee and some salmon. What it's going to do, it's going to spit out a calorie chart of the total calories given, your carbs, your protein, and if you had alcohol or not. And then it's going to give you a nice visual right here, the calorie breakdown, a nice little pie chart. So if you're on their Atkins diet there, and you're doing the 40-30-30 thing, it's gonna tell you if you're in range, okay, just by looking at this pie chart. So that's awesome too. But again, you gotta go to the website every day if you want to get this type of breakdown. But let's say that you're on the go. What I would direct you to is Fit15.com. Now at Fit15.com, you can print out a daily food log. You put in the time, it's going to make you assess your hunger level, so you're not going to eat when you're not hungry, right? And then you're going to put in the food and general calories and fat. Okay, so you print those out again, put them in a journal, and you have them on the go. Hard copies, very good. Now, the other thing that I have found to be highly effective is this site called CalorieKing.com. Not only will it give you a general outline, again, of calories, fat, protein, and such, you can download software onto your Palm, which I do have, and it gives you a database of nearly 20,000 foods. Okay, now there is a free trial. You can test it out, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, then don't worry about it. But if it does, it's only going to cost you about 15 bucks. I think it's a great deal. All right? So there's no more excuses. I've taken all the excuses out, you guys. Get off your butts, get out from typing, and get yourself into shape, okay? Using the net, of course. Okay? Now, you must hit up my website for all my other links for ways and tactics that you can use in the battle of the bulge. All righty? Pat? You into it?
I think I'm a masterful physique
You're
as
into
it
it?
is.
You're my first client.
I'm so scared. It's
Okay.
gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, isn't it? Oh man, we'll be buying new clothes soon, folks. It's time to check in with our pals over at Tech Live to find out what's coming up tonight.
Excellent. How you doing, Patrick and Leo? I don't know what that diet's doing
Leo!
for you, but Leo, you look great.
Hey, Larry,
I
watch
don't know.
it.
I don't know if it's the makeup, but Leo, you are looking dynamite with that new.
Chris, say hello to Jessica, Chris.
I know it's Jessica. I'm just teasing. Hey, by the way, you know, Jessica, I don't know if you think this or any of the ladies around here think this, but I seem to, think I'm a hot guy. But apparently,
Yes,
I'm alone in that. But recently, I was fortunate, or rather unfortunate enough, to get first-hand demo on how stunt people light up, and I'm lucky that I'm here to tell about. Actually, the stuff they use is very safe, thanks to, in large part, to a couple who came up with their very own recipe for fire. We'll tell you about that tonight on Tech Live immediately.
It's hot. Thank you.
Billowing. Look at this. Look at that. That's not messing around. That is me there. Ladies, try and tell me I'm not hot.
I was just going to say.
Look at that. Till then, I guess we'll throw it back to y'all. It's going to be cool. It's going to be a great show tonight.
I don't know, Chris. I've flown in bad planes, and Yoshi's been tasered, but you've been lit on fire. I think you've officially taken the lead.
I'm a tough guy. All right, I'm a tough guy. Thanks, man.
So what do you think? Is he on it?
He definitely has a confidence problem.
That's what's coming up on Tech Live right after this show.
Yeah, and stay where you are. Our next caller wants to know why video cards need RAM. But next, we'll hear about PyTac, the President's Information Technology Advisory Committee, and how the software industry is changing to a pay-for-play service when the Screensavers returns.
Is your home need an upgrade? Well, you should watch Tech TV all this week for your chance to win a $100,000 tech makeover for your house. We're talking the coolest products around. To enter, well, watch Tech TV anytime between 7 p.m. and 1 a.m. Eastern. Look for our commercials with the Digital Dig Celebrity Clues. I bet that's what you're seeing right up there now. Once you get them, well, go to techtv.com/digital digs and take the quiz to enter. The more quizzes you take, the more chances you have to win. So do me a favor, watch a lot of Tech TV tonight and enter. And while we're talking about this, how about congratulations to Paul from West Covina, California. Yesterday's big winner won an Xbox and a Game Boy Advance SP just for playing. Today's prize, how about an HP PSC 2210? That's a multifunction printer and a very large piece of hardware to carry into your house. Now, our guest here has recently been nominated to co-chair PyTac, the President's Information Technology Information Committee. Acronyms are hard, folks. CEO of Salesforce.com, Mark Benioff. Welcome to the Screensavers.
Hey, Patrick.
Mark.
Good to see you.
So you're an interesting cat. You used to work for Oracle.
That's right.
You're,
That's right.
you know, one of the young studs, I guess.
I was there
would be
for
the phrase
13
for it.
years.
That's a long time.
Long time, more than a decade.
You started a slightly different model of company a couple years ago.
Yeah, that's right. We looked at what was happening in the software industry, but mostly what we looked at what was happening with the internet. Boy, that was exciting, and saw all these exciting things happening in 95 and 96, and in 99 we started our company. Of course, they didn't tell us what was going to happen in 2000 and 2001, but we had a vision, and the vision was very simple, which was to destroy the software industry using the internet itself.
Now this is Salesforce.com we're talking about.
That's
here.
right.
What does Salesforce.com do?
Salesforce.com basically delivers technology in a utility model, basically the way power comes into the studio. In the same way we deliver our service to drive businesses all over the world, 110 countries, 6,700 companies run their businesses instead of buying software using our service.
So basically what I'm hearing here is rather than buying software or paying for seat licenses, I mean, are you doing a monthly charge based on seats or just for the amount of services that are used off of your systems? How's this working?
Well, you know, the traditional software model is you have to pay a big license fee up front. You're probably aware of that, and then you roll through these upgrades. Well, our model is like the newspaper or the magazine industry.
It shows up on your doorstep.
Subscription, exactly, exactly.
Does that take some, I mean, does that take away administration issues from the company? I mean, are you guys basically, how are people working with Salesforce.com? Are they logging in, deal with the interface and the software? And
well, we have 93,000 users now, and
that's more than a couple.
It's more than a couple, 93,000 users, and instead of having to buy products from a lot of the companies that you mentioned, like Oracle, PeopleSoft, SAP, Siebel, they basically just signed up for a subscription right on our website, and they're able to get the service automatically. Nothing to install, no upgrades, no maintenance, just like Amazon or Google, but it comes down into enterprise software.
So for the folks in the audience that don't administer an enterprise, what exactly are we talking about? What gets done at Salesforce.com?
Well, what happens is that companies, it could be a company like TechTV, or it could be any company who has sales forces or customer service or marketing organizations. Typically, if you want to manage all that information, you have to buy a lot of software, hardware, hire a lot of people to do it. Well, we borrowed a page from Google, so to speak, and what we did was we built an enterprise solution that looked just like a website.
Right.
And that's what we do today. And we've grown our business from zero in 2000 to about $100 million this year. We're now the second largest private company behind Google, right here in the Valley.
That's a pretty big accomplishment. Now, there's some. I've read some of the press. There's definitely some arguments going on. You know, Oracle, PeopleSoft, SAP. They have a different vision of the future. You're saying they're dinosaurs and they're going away. Am I oversimplifying here?
Well, they are dinosaurs and they are going away. And the reason they're going away is because they deliver old technology based on an old business model, based on an old technology model. And let's face it, the reason that we have a great show like this here is because there's so much change in our industry. It's so exciting, hard to keep up with all the change. Well, lots happened since that product. A lot of those products had been built 15, 20 years ago.
And they're just sort of they keep adding the bag onto the side.
You know how that is, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah, you got
it. So is it hard? I mean, you're basically, IT managers are not always the most progressive bunch when they start talking about new services. How do you deal with that?
It is hard. We're missionaries, we're pioneers, we're evangelists, and what we do is we get out there and with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, we try to make our case that the internet is really what it's all about today. You have all these great appliances that I'm sure that, I watch Tech TV all the time that you're reviewing. You have all these great systems, which saw laptops, right, that are more powerful than the biggest mainframes were just 10 years ago. World has changed. People need to wake up, see the change, buy into new solutions, new technology.
Now, you haven't been confirmed yet, but you've been tapped, you've been nominated to serve on the President's Information Tech Advisory Committee. Is part of this, you're trying to force change in the industry. Is that part of why you were tapped for this committee?
Well, I think that one of the really exciting things that is happening with PTAC, which is the President's Information Technology Advisory Committee, is it's 25 individuals from our industry. The President has asked and said, how do we become more competitive? How do we use innovation to become more competitive as a country? And in a lot of the key areas, like, for example, in Homeland Security, in healthcare, in the environment, are there things that we can do to take advantage of these critical new technologies to advance us forward? And so that's what we'll be chartered with when we when we become an official committee, which will happen sometime this fall.
And this is not a lobbyist group for the industry. This is someone
No.
who's trying to. I mean, you haven't worked with them yet, so you're working on this, and the group itself has been pretty inactive. I mean, what do you plan? What would you? Let's say you get nominated, you get confirmed. What would you like to work on?
Well, what's exciting is what we've been talking about, change, and the huge amounts of changes that have happened in our industry, and how do we take those changes and bring them into the government, how do we bring them into the country, and how do we spotlight entrepreneurs who are doing exciting things in all these areas. I mean, hardly a day goes by today when you can't pick up a newspaper or a magazine or watch a TV show like this and hear about something new. We want to bring those fresh, great new ideas to the president and let him decide how to best implement those in the country.
Sounds like a good idea.
Terrific.
I got one last question before I go. What do you think the next big jump is going to be? Any thoughts on that? Or
Well, I think the next big jump is really clear, and it's the current big jump, and that is the internet. People forget we're not at the middle of the internet or the end of the internet. We're still at the very beginning of the internet. This network is big and powerful. It's becoming more wireless, more pervasive, and more exciting every day, and that's what's driving our industry. And new companies that are accelerating, like Google and like Salesforce.com, are built on the internet. And I think that the internet, it turns out, is not a fad, and it's going to be here for a while.
We can only hope. Mark, thank you for taking
Thank
the
you
time
so
to
much,
talk to
Patrick.
us.
All the best.
Folks, Mark Benioff, Salesforce.com, maybe the next man whispering in the ear of the president, thanks to PTAC, and we're going to show you a website for that. We got links up on the website. If you want to give your opinions about technology, check out PTAC's presidential reports and send them an email. We've got all their info up at thescreensavers.com. Still to come, Caldwell, our next caller, is back. He wants to know why video cards need RAM. But first, you better wait, because you're going to hear a hot new web tip from Sarah.
You know, if you're lazy like me or really lazy like Jessica, you turn your PC off in just one click, or maybe a double click. Double click's what I mean. So this is how you do it. Go to your desktop, right click, new shortcut. You're going to enter this string. Don't worry, don't have to write it down. It's in our show notes. Next, finish. Then just rename it to something like one-click shutdown. And all you have to do is double click it, and your PC is shutting down. Oh, now my PC is shutting down. That's annoying. But it worked. More TSS in a moment.
Caldwell joins us on the Tech TV NetCam Network from Nashville, Tennessee.
Ooh, Nashville.
How you doing, Caldwell?
I'm doing just fine. How you doing, Patrick?
We're doing good.
Hey, what about me? Am I chopped liver?
You know you're not new and improved, Leo.
Thank you, thank you. Way to rebound. Good. Okay.
Nice recovery. You got a question for us tonight, Caldwell?
That I do. I have a question about video cards and RAM.
Okay.
Why do they need to go together?
Why?
It's a video card. Why does it need RAM?
That's a great question, Caldwell. Do you know what RAM does for a computer?
Mm-hmm.
What's it do for a computer, Caldwell?
Well, what I've come to understand is that a hard drive is like a filing cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
and RAM is like a desk.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you're working on something, you put all your stuff on your desk, and you take it out of the filing cabinet.
Okay. So the idea is that he's good, isn't he?
Yeah.
So basically, the idea is that instead of like running a quarter mile to the well, I carry the bucket back with me and I keep it next to the sink. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Makes sense?
I love these analogies because it really does help me. Thanks, Caldwell.
It's a good thing.
Thanks.
There's a great article actually on how graphics card works up at How Stuff Works. And actually, you want to grab that line?
Yeah.
What is it?
Right here. The memory holds the color of each pixel. In the simplest case, since each pixel is only black or white, you need just one bit to store each pixel's color.
Perfect. So the idea, Caldwell, is what we're talking about here is the RAM on your video card. Pretty much it's the same thing for the video card that it does on the motherboard. It keeps information stored locally on the graphics card, so it doesn't have to truck back over the graphics card across the HEP bus and into main system memory, or heaven forbid, all the way to the hard drive to grab the information it needs to put on the screen.
I gotcha.
Okay. Now, do you remember? Caldwell, you'll forgive me for saying this, but you look a little on the young side. Do you remember the days before AGP graphics cards?
No.
Okay. I feel very old.
He was A fetus, probably.
Or a zygote.
Or a zygote.
It's a scary concept. So the idea back then is Intel said, we're going to take the traffic from the graphics card off of the PCI bus. PCI bus is where your hard drives come over, your sound card comes over. Most everything that talks to main system memory and your processor comes over the PCI bus, the peripheral connection interface, I think it's called. The idea is that they wanted to separate, because there's a huge amount of traffic to feed pixels onto the screen. And they would give the AGP, the advanced graphics port, a direct connection to main system memory, right? And the idea that they would store and move all this information separately to save you traffic on the PCI bus. What was funny though is that everybody was like, okay, so you're not gonna need to put memory on graphics cards anymore because they're gonna have this great dedicated bus to move it back and forth out of system memory. Well, game manufacturers realized that it was a lot faster for them to store all those graphics up on the video card, rather than they moved 16 megabytes in the graphics card. So they pulled 16 megabytes of graphics information and stored it locally on the card. As the games get more complex, the amount of memory on the graphics cards gets larger. They do it all to avoid moving stuff over the system buses, which are much slower than keeping it locally in memory, which is
I got you.
just like main system memory.
Hey, Caldwell, why are you wondering this? Are you a gamer? What are you using your graphics card for?
I'm just curious because my brother's computer was booting up and it said like 128 RAM, and I said, don't you have 256? And someone said that's for his graphics card. And I thought,
that's a lot of memory for a graphics card.
It's your signature move, Caldwell.
it is.
It is. It's a defining move.
Hey, you guys. Thanks, Caldwell.
Thanks, Caldwell.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Hey, stay where you are. We'll check our inbox for some final viewer mail. See you at the stairs in about 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Meet me.
Be sure to catch tomorrow's show, ladies and gentlemen. You can access your machine from anywhere with Tight VNC software. The director of SourceForge is going to come by and tell us all about this neat new product. Plus, it's time to show you my digital digs. Well, nothing too fancy here. I'm going to tell you how to turn the rat's nest in your basement into something a little more presentable. And come play with us at our LAN party. We're going to tear it up in Wolfenstein enemy territory. So if you get invited after the show tonight, you're going to be slaughtering us most likely on tomorrow's show.
You better show up. Yeah.
They usually show up in force, in angry force.
Hey, Pat, a lot of people out there need your help.
That's a scary concept.
Yeah, they do. Kelly says, my system has started to power itself on by itself, so it's kind of like haunted. Do you have any tips for her?
Oh boy. First, want to make sure there's nothing on the system that's designed that's supposed to power it up at a particular time, or there's no clock set on there or any of that. Second thing you want to do is download some virus software if you don't have any running, and scan it to see whether or not anybody's got a Trojan in there or some kind of virus. And failing that, find out if your 6-year-old is waking up at 4 in the morning and powering it up to play with Winnie the Pooh online or something.
Somebody might be playing a trick on you.
That would be bad.
Yeah. Okay, how about this one? I have an Ultimate TV satellite receiver. Most of your tips for mods and upgrades have been for the TiVo. Do you have any tips for Ultimate?
You know what? We've been reading about Ultimate. We've been hearing about Ultimate for years. I don't think anybody on staff has ever actually seen
I haven't.
one of the Ultimate TV receivers from Microsoft.
I haven't.
In theory, anything's hackable, right? The question is whether or not there's enough of those products out there with enough people who are, tweakers out there who actually want to hack it. Did I see a hand up for it? Or?
I saw a couple.
What's that? They did go out of business.
Okay.
Well, that's we just found out they went out of business, which
Hang
is a
on to it,
strong
collector's
sign.
edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least until it
eBay
works.
in about 2 years.
One can only
Maybe.
hope. Either that or it'll make a great doorstop. Best thing to do is search Google or search hack in the name of your product, and maybe you'll get lucky and find something.
Okay. I want to know if there is a wireless device that will connect to a USB webcam and then back to the PC.
Problem is like with USB stuff, is it needs it to talk to a PC or a Mac to actually be able to work. So sure there is. Get a PC or a Mac and connect it wirelessly over a network.
Okay.
Oh man, I think we're out of here.
We are out.
That's it for this edition of The Screensaver.
I'm Jessica Corbin.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Thank you for joining us. We'd like to thank our guests, Mark Benoff and Han Choi. For the rest of you,
get out there and compute.